Good morning, YouTube. It's 9:30 in the morning. I'm finally getting to my coffee and I'm walking out to the goat barn because I have a doe in labor. I did a video out in my garden this morning and then came out here to milk the goats, at which point I noticed that Pesky's udder had ballooned up quite a lot since yesterday, and I felt her ligaments. They were definitely not there, so I isolated her. I caught her having a couple of contractions. Pesky got her name because she's never been one much for personal space. Is that right? Okay, so Pesky is really needing some snuggles and some emotional support right now because she is hurting a little bit. But I wanted to tell you guys what to look for to know that your doe is in labor. I know her well, and so I can tell when she is in pain. That might not be the case if you don't spend a whole lot of time with your goats. But if you do, you can tell when they're in pain. Now, one thing that they do, which I was hoping that I could catch her doing it because she's done it a few times since we've been in here, is they do this thing with their mouths where they curl their lips up or they open their mouth really wide and kind of move their jaw around. And that is generally a sign that they are experiencing pain. That's something that they do. Or if they tilt their head all the way back, straight up, that actually causes them to kind of like get like lightheaded, is what I've been told. And that's usually a sign that they're very, very happy or that they're in pain and they're trying to alleviate those pains. So if they're doing kind of weird things with their mouth or their head that you don't normally see them do, that can be a sign, especially with a doe that you know is very heavy bred, that she's in labor, because those can be signs of pain management in them. The other thing that you're looking for is changes in their udder. Some goats, the day they kid, most of them, their udders fill up. There's always an exception, you know, like I had, I really couldn't see a huge difference whenever Miriam had her kids the other day. Her udder did not get really huge, but most of them, their udder really like balloons out and fills up right like the day of. The telltale sign that you have very imminent kids in a goat is their ligaments. Now, I've shared this before, but I want to make sure I include it in this video because it's very important. And some people say check their ligaments, but that's hard to do if you don't know what you're looking for. Now, in a goat that is not pregnant, right here feels kind of just like solid muscle, if you feel that. In a goat that is heavy pregnant, you can feel here, and what you feel is a muscle on either side of this tailbone, and it feels a lot like a pencil when you roll right here and rub on this spot on the sides of their tailbone. On a goat that is about to kid, which you can see on Pesky right here, do you see how sunken she is? And you can really see the definition of her tailbone. You can feel nothing right here. It's just completely sunken in. There's no pencils there. And so this means generally when this happens, you're looking at kids within 24 hours for sure. Now you can see on Pesky here right now, do you see how swollen she is? Now they can look like that in the, you know, the days leading up to kidding. Okay, we're about to see a contraction right here. She's, she may start pushing. Yeah, she's contracting. Okay, you see how she's trying to kind of lay down and she's clearing where the kid can come out, but she's not in super active labor right now. She's really engorged. She's been, see, they'll do this, they'll get up and down. Sometimes they'll get down and kind of lean up on their knees. All right, to wrap up the thing about the ligaments, when you feel that there are no ligaments, like they get looser and looser leading up to the birth. So if you can feel them but you barely feel anything, you're close but not there yet. But when you feel that the ligaments are like gone, you're generally gonna have kids that day. We so closely watch our goats that generally speaking, I will check that, and then when I feel that they're gone, I'll isolate them. Now this year I had you know, kids in the middle of the yard because I didn't, you know, I didn't check their ligaments that day. Okay, so this is what we're looking for when we see a contraction. Now she just squatted and peed a little bit, but then she's holding that stance, you know, for a little while longer. So she's got kids getting into position right now, and we don't have anything presenting yet, but it's definitely close. With her doing that, that means she's in active labor and she's having those contractions. Another thing you can look for is discharge. If you see any, some people call it goo or whatever, but it's essentially just the discharge, and amniotic fluid, mucus plug, that sort of thing. And if you see a little bit of that, you can see that as a sign of that they're very close. But they can actually have bits of goo for days leading up to the birth. Now, generally speaking, like, it's not always a telltale sign. Ligaments and udder is what I go on to know whether or not we're going to be close. And you have to check multiple times a day whenever they get this pregnant. And like, I checked Pesky's ligaments last night and I could still feel them, so I didn't isolate her before she went to bed. But when I checked them this morning, I noticed they were gone, and so I put her in the stall by herself. She has not had any discharge yet, so sometimes that's a sign that you're close, and sometimes you can't really go off of that. Okay, real quickly, I just want to tell you like what I have out here with me. Obviously, camera, cell phone. I make sure I have that because if I need to call somebody for help, a lot of times I'll text my my goat mentors and my goat friends that I get advice from and just say, hey, got a goat in labor, you know, kind of keep your phone handy, because I'm still pretty novice. This is my second year with kidding, and my third year with goats, so like there's still a lot that I don't know. Also bring out towels. I've got a bag here with several towels. That way I can clean off the babies if I need to. Generally when they hit the ground, I clean their airwaves, but I leave them for the most part for their moms to clean. I've also got a thermometer. I have a pair of scissors, so that if needed, usually they'll chew the umbilical cords, but if needed I can cut it. I have molasses, which we put in the mom's water immediately after kidding. You can bring a suction bulb out. I actually don't have one in my kit right now, so hopefully we won't be needing that. Other things that you want to have on hand, you don't necessarily have to bring to the barn with you, is either colostrum from a goat that has kidded in the past that you have frozen, or a colostrum replacer, like a powdered colostrum replacer. That is in the case that something, you know, awful happens and you're not able to get the colostrum from the doe that is kidding. You are able to get some colostrum into the baby. It is hugely important that they get colostrum within their first hour of life. It makes a huge difference in their overall health throughout their life, and their chances of survival go down pretty significantly if they do not get colostrum right away. In the same vein, you want to have a bottle handy. If you are planning on dam raising, you probably won't even need it. However, in case of emergency, it's best to have a backup plan, because it sincerely could be a matter of life or death if that backup plan is needed. I guess I can also tell you about our kidding stalls. Essentially, we took our barn and we made these little isolation pens. They are, you know, I think this little pen is like 8 by 9 feet. It's quite small. We've got a little bin up against the wall that we can give them feed in. Over here, I've got a bucket of water. I've got just some hay. It's got straw on the ground. You want to keep it clean, as clean as possible. This has fresh straw down, which we refresh regularly throughout the season to make sure it's always ready. And then whenever I know I've got a doe that is laboring or very close, I go ahead and come out here with them. Like, I've got a chair in here right now. Now, some of my girls would not appreciate the company as much as some of the other ones, but Pesky is very much a pet as much as she is a farm animal. Like, she's one of the ones who's very social and very attached to me specifically. So as you can tell, she really is enjoying the company. Also put some hay down. She has not eaten it since we've been in here, but after she kids, she may want it. And nearby, right on the other side of this wall actually is our milking stall, which has grain, alfalfa, dewormer. As soon as she kids, I'll bring over a quart of alfalfa and give it to her just as an energy booster, and I will go ahead and deworm her with Quest Plus dewormer, which is what we use. You really need to kind of check on that based on your area, but they need to be dewormed within generally 24 hours of kidding, because it's such a blow to their immune system that, since goats all do have parasites in some regard, a lot of times those parasite loads just multiply exponentially within the hours after kidding, as their immune systems are so compromised, and you can end up with bottle jaw, a lot of issues if you don't just proactively deworm at that time. This is the life of a YouTube homesteader. I'm out here editing video while my goat labors. She's laid down behind me a little bit on her side, and it looks like she's starting to push just a little bit. I'm not seeing a lot of discharge or like any sort of presentation of hooves or face, but I can tell she's definitely feeling a lot of pressure for her to be laying down and doing this. Okay, she's still laying down. I'm just gonna come back here and take a quick look. I don't see anything presenting yet. She's definitely starting to contract a little more frequently, and she's getting a little more vocal, so I know we're getting closer. I can tell she's feeling it for sure. Okay, and you see this position she's in? This is a pretty common position that they'll push in when they get close. She's laying on her side and she gets up on her knees like that. So this is definitely a contraction. I tried to move over here so I could have a better shot, but she's coming over here to me. Let me go back to my chair so she can lay back down and be comfortable. My social girl. One thing that I was really not prepared for in goat ownership is how attached they get and how attached you get. Like, you know, I guess a lot of people keep goats and they don't become super attached to them, but if you do spend a lot of time with them, they have the capacity to be, you know, just as companion-y as like a dog. You know, they really do build relationships, and I want you to be right there with them when they have their babies. Is that right, Pesky girl? Bless her. One thing that I kind of establish as a rule around here is that when my goats are kidding, I generally have my kids steer clear. I love for them to be involved in farm stuff. She is cracking me up. And I involve them in so much of the animal care, but with general understanding of birth, you know, when, you know, animals who have live birth, and this actually applies to humans as well, sense any sense of danger, it can absolutely stall labor. And that's the same thing if you study human birth, which I was, you know, I had my babies naturally and all of that stuff, and so I read a lot about different things, and I have found that the labors tend to go a lot smoother when your goats feel safe. I tried to move again, and she came and laid on my feet. Sweet baby. Okay, she's definitely pushing now, so I'm gonna try to get up where I can see. Goodness. Alright, I'm not seeing anything presenting yet, but she is working on it. This is the first time I've seen her really push like this. Okay, she has started actually pushing, and we do have the sack. Just came one out. Okay, I have not seen any parts of the baby yet, but I'm watching to make sure everything is presenting properly.
Okay.
So I called Jeremiah out to run the camera because every time I move, she comes and just wants to lay like right on me. But I wanted to be able to see. Okay, what do you see? I'm not 100%.
That's just the bag. Okay.
Okay.
Bag just broke, so that's good.
So what we're looking for is they come out usually like what is normal is you'll see like the tip of their nose or the tip of their hooves first. But you know, if we see like a tail or, you know, we want to make sure the presentation is right because if they come out the wrong way, it's a lot more likely that they can get stuck. Alright, she's moved, so I've got a better view. Huh?
Is that a hoof or poop stick?
That's a poop stick to it. She just pooped. Oh.
Push it.
You're doing a good job, Mama. Oh my gosh, my heart just hurts for him in this. Yeah, I see her back arching. She's just contracting. I cry a lot of times during birth because I'm like, I know. And I just want to like breathe them through it. I remember. She's so sweet. Okay.
It probably looks like
That's-
the contractions are pushing the baby.
No, that's a hoof. We got a hoof coming. So that's a good thing, you know, mostly. It's a pretty big hoof. All right, she's got it out. That's a large kid right there. That's a very large kid. You did it, baby. You did it. After that one, any others should come out pretty easy. That's a very large kid. Oh, hi. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world, little baby. All right. Come on. Let's just scoot you on. Let's scoot you on. Good Lord, it's a large kid. Okay. Okay, yeah, there's another sack right there. I'm pretty sure we're about to have another. That's a boy. He's beautiful. He's very pretty and spotted. She's not done though. He's big. I'm curious how much he weighs.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's got one really large buckling out, and she's got another sack, it looks like, and she has not jumped up. She's still kind of pushing. So I went ahead and moved him up near her so she can start just licking on him and cleaning him. And that will help relax her and move her labor along, as well as, you know, wake him up and get him good and alert. Okay, she's beginning to push again. Oh, goodness. Yep, there's another kid. There's the face. Oh, this one came out quick. Oh. Got the shoulders and the head out already. Generally, the subsequent ones come out pretty quickly after you have such a big kid first. This is a big kid too right here. Okay, I'm gonna break this. I know, Mama, you're doing it.
Hey, what you just moved was the sack from the first one. Now this is his sack, or her sack, or whoever this is.
This is a thick sack. Okay, so we're just gonna break this and clear the airwaves for this baby to get a breath. There we go. Okay. Oh goodness. Alright. There we go. So I'm just gonna get these airwaves cleared. There we go. These are large kids. Hello. Happy birthday. Good job.
It's a girl.
Yeah, that's a girl. Good job, Mama. It looks like she's done with the 2 kids. I'm gonna hang out here with her and make sure that she doesn't start pushing again. But she is now completely focused on them and no longer seeming to be in the intensity of labor, and what is hanging right now looks like after birth. Now I'm gonna give her some molasses water and something to eat, and go ahead and deworm her. And at this point, how you handle the goat birth is really going to be dependent on whether you bottle raise or dam raise. So I will end this video now and kind of conclude that goat birth. So this is pretty much how it is. Obviously it's very hands-off for me, other than kind of helping her out, get them out of the way, which she would have been fine without me here. But she did a great job. She's a good goat when it comes to birthing. She's strong and obviously has really strong kids. These are some big, healthy kids, so that's always really good to see. So, thanks guys, until next time.